The one question that I get most often is how do I personally rig my Blackmagic Pocket Cinema Camera? Well, today we're going to go through my rig piece by piece. And I'm not only going to show you what I have, but I'm going to talk to you as to why I chose the parts that I have. One very important thing, this video is not sponsored by anybody. I paid for all of my stuff. And you know, when you're putting together a rig, sometimes you buy stuff that you don't like and you send back and you finally get it to where you're comfortable and you love it. So today we're going to talk about my rig. One of the most important things you can start with is a base unit. And below, I'm using the small rig plate. The thing I like about it, and one thing that's big when it comes to me creating rigs, is the fact that I've used this same rig on my FS5 and previous cameras, like my Blackmagic Production 4K camera, my A6500s. All of my cameras start with this same base plate. Then I move it to carbon fiber rails. They're much lighter. I like the weight of them. I like the feel of them. And what I usually do is I usually throw a Manfrotto plate down at the bottom of that so that I can take it off of a tripod if needed. Now on that rail system, I got just an inexpensive follow focus, and I have my matte box connected to the power hard drive combo that I talked about in my last video. Let's talk about that for a quick second. I usually keep it up in front of my screen just to keep it small and compact, but I can still pull it all the way down if I need to use that screen for something. I know some people may trip, but I like to have my hard drive exposed because it makes it easy for me to slide one in and slide one out. Currently, I'm not recording to my hard drive. I'm recording to a T5 drive, but we're going to talk about that in a few seconds. If you fold it up, it's very compact. Let's talk about what we got going on over here. Again, I have my Pro X battery, which gives me about almost 4 hours of battery life, maybe a little bit more. That includes running a monitor off of it and the Blackmagic Pocket Cinema Camera itself. I used to have a wireless follow focus with programmable points that I also ran off that same battery, and I still got about 4 hours of battery life. Now, when it comes to this side, there are some things that's interesting. Let's start with my NATO handrail at the top here. I have a Rode Micro shotgun mic on it. Let me be honest with you. I don't use that a lot. I really don't use that. I don't have a need for shotgun audio. I'm not saying it may not be used. I like the stereo microphones that are on the front for B-roll. They just give you a little bit more dynamic audio, especially for B-roll. It's just nice to see, you know, a train going from left to right or right to left, and you can hear it in stereo instead of just straight on in mono. I am using the small rig cage. I like the small rig cage simply because if you've purchased from small rig before, there's a great chance that the accessories that you used on other cages will continue to work with future cages, and that's big for me. I love the Tilta cage. I'm not crazy about the color of the Tilta cage, but if you look at Tilta cages before, they're often completely different, and I want to be able to use something moving forward. Even with the handle up top, with it being a NATO rail, it works perfectly. And I spent $50 for that handle, and I know that it's going to work on all of my future cages because it's a NATO handle. I have my cable protectors. These here, it's a $20 add-on with small rig. It helps hold in your USB-C cable as well as your HDMI cables, which if you're doing run and gun, which we're going to talk about in a little bit, that helps a lot. Now, I also have the small rig T5 handle. And a lot of people say, well, why would you go with that handle when you can record straight to your hard drive? The thing is this, you need a handle on your left side, so why not have that? Also, when we talk about run and gun and I show you what we do for run and gun, you'll see why I have that. I also have their monitor adapter, and I'm using the World 570. It's a 5-inch monitor. It's my favorite monitor because for under 200 bucks, you get so much for your money. Like, one of the things people say was lacking is LUT support, but with the Blackmagic Pocket Cinema Camera, I can send whatever LUT I want to this particular monitor, and I love it. It's bright enough. It also comes with a sun hood. I did a video on it, being out and about in public and working with it, and I love it. I've had it for probably 2 years, and it's great. I also have specialty cables, which are shorter, thicker, stronger HDMI cables that I purchased on Amazon. I'll put the link to that in the description, as well as a stronger USB-C cable that's also shorter. I didn't want to use the cable that came with the T5 simply because it was super long and it was crap everywhere. So I didn't want to use that. So I bought cables that are shorter and flatter to get out of the way for this particular setup. So I like that. Now, one thing to mention and to note is I have a battery still connected to the monitor, as well as a battery still in the camera. And a lot of people say, well, why don't you run the dummy battery? I don't like running dummy batteries simply because I like to be running gun at times. My lens of choice right now is the Mackie 16mm T2.2. It is a phenomenal lens, especially for the price. It's freaking ridiculous to be, $350 is freaking nuts. It's freaking nuts. And like I said, with the matte box and everything, it works perfectly. I love to use it with my follow focus, and I can set my focus points if needed, if someone needs to pull focus. I can also turn my monitor if I want towards whatever direction or focus puller, and they can pull focus. Now, let's talk about a few other things, because if I want to go handheld, this kit is designed for me to go handheld quickly. All I need to do, disconnect the monitor and disconnect the power adapter from the V mount. Once those two are disconnected, I can slide this bad boy right off. Now, I have a running gun setup that is ready to go. I got wood grip on one side, hand grip on the other side, and I can go and shoot handheld without a problem. Run my focus from here. It's not an issue. I still have power to my monitor, power to my camera, and I got about 30 minutes of runtime handheld if I need to go that way. So it allows me the best of both worlds. And just like that, make sure recording. And just like that, I can go back into my tripod setup, run my two cables for power, and I'm good to go. Another great accessory is, of course, the XLR cable. I usually run, if I have to run a shotgun mic, I still have my microphones from my Sony, which I love, which are very, very good microphones. I run them with a bike handle grip, and I kind of reverse it. So let me show you how I do that. Once you have it tight, you can just clamp it, and you can attach it to the top of your rail here. And make sure this is on tight. Just do it like that. But so now you have a bike clamp that can be used to hold your shotgun mic. It'll hold it up above your mat box, and you're good to go. Now you got a shotgun mic that's pointed at your subject. You're now running gun with it if you need, and you can do whatever you like. A great thing about a matte box is not only does it get rid of glare, but you can also add ND filters to it. In fact, you can add multiple ND filters to it, or graduated ND filters, or whatever type of ND filter you want. I like having the follow focus because I can pull smooth focuses and I can create focus points by tightening that down. Maybe I'm old school, but I like manual focus. I don't like the camera deciding what needs to be in focus. I like manual focus. It just works for me. All right, guys, that's my setup. If you guys have any questions, feel free to leave it down in the comments, and I will be sure to create a link to everything that you see here, and I will see you guys next video.